I'm Jen from Tea Leaves and Tweed, and welcome to Baking with Jen. I'm back to baking this week, and I think this week I'm going to share one of my kind of perpetual standby recipes that I bake all the time and that I have basically memorized, and that is my chocolate chip cookie recipe. I've been baking this recipe since I was in college, and it has gone through years of fine-tuning and making little changes to it to make it exactly the way I want it. And chocolate chip cookies happen to be my mother-in-law's favorite treat. So I thought that because I can't be with her baking her chocolate chip cookies right now, the next best thing would be to share my recipe in a video so she can feel like she's in the kitchen baking with me. So let's bake. So the first thing you'll want to know is that you'll want to make this recipe at least a day ahead of time before you want to bake your cookies, because it does have to rest overnight in the fridge. So here I have a stick of unsalted butter that I've melted, and I'm going to add a half a cup each of white and dark brown sugar. And it's actually really important to use dark brown sugar because dark brown sugar has more molasses in it, which is the acid, or one of the acids in this recipe, and that is actually one of the things that activates the leavener. And just to tell you a story, when I was in college, the gentleman I was seeing at the time loved these cookies and was very sad when I was going out of town for a week and a half to go to Italy that I wouldn't be able to make him cookies. So I shared the recipe with him. So now I'm just gonna add about maybe a half teaspoon of salt. So I left him the recipe, and he made the cookies and they didn't turn out. And he accused me of sabotaging the recipe so that he couldn't make the cookies without me. And I said, did you use light brown sugar? And of course he did, and that's why his cookies didn't turn out the same as mine. So now I've added the sugar and the butter and the salt, and I'm gonna add 1 egg. I want to just get that really nice and mixed together. And a little splash of vanilla. I think officially it's about maybe a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of vanilla. But again, I usually just eyeball it. And then you're going to add 1 cup plus 6 tablespoons of flour, and that's about 1 3/8 cups, and it's a weird amount, but it really is the perfect amount of flour for this recipe. And then a half a teaspoon of baking soda. That's why you need that acid balance to be right, because we're using baking soda. And just kind of stir this together. And it does look like it's never going to come together, and then it just kind of magically all works out. Now, once you've got that flour mostly worked in, I like to add my chocolate chips. This is a half of a 10-ounce bag of chocolate chips. So this is 5 ounces of chocolate chips. And I'm using a 70% cocoa bittersweet chocolate, and I really recommend using the best chocolate you can. If you feel like chopping 5 ounces of chocolate and using chopped dark chocolate, that really makes the best cookies, but I am too lazy and I just really hate chopping chocolate because it's so messy. So you just get that nice and stirred in. And then I'm going to get these into a container and put it in the refrigerator overnight at least, but you can definitely keep this for up to a week. And then I'll meet you back here to bake them. All right, we're back. Our dough has been chilling in the refrigerator overnight, so it's the next day. And I have my baking sheet, which I'm going to line with some parchment paper. And of course, you've probably seen those viral baking videos where they talk about getting your parchment paper to stay on the cookie sheet without rolling up. And I just want to share my one neat trick is I turn it upside down from the way it wants to curl, and then it stays flat. It's the same trick I use with my yoga mat. There's no need to scrunch or crumple anything. So now we're just gonna get this cookie dough onto the sheet. So I'm using an ice cream scoop to scoop out. We wanna do about 2 tablespoons worth of dough in each ball. If you have a cookie scoop, that would be great. And then you just wanna shape these into rough ball-like blobs. I did let this sit out for a little bit, like maybe 20 minutes, so that it's not completely rock hard when I go to scoop it. But you still want it to be chilled. You'll place them about 2 inches apart, or 5 centimeters. So I'm only making 6 cookies today, and one of the wonderful things about chocolate chip cookie dough is you can save it in the refrigerator. If you want, you can even roll it into a log and wrap it in some parchment paper or plastic wrap and pretend that it's slice and bake cookie dough, or you can just keep it in a Tupperware like this, or if you're feeling very preppy, you can roll it into balls ahead of time, chill the balls in a Tupperware, and then all you have to do is take them and put them on the cookie sheet. So now I've got my 6 cookies, which is the perfect amount for tea time for my little family. And these are gonna go into a preheated 350 Fahrenheit oven for about 12 to 15 minutes, or until they look done for chocolate chip cookies. So I'll meet you back here. So now I have my plate of chocolate chip cookies. They came out of the oven, and then the most difficult part of this recipe is you absolutely have to let them rest on the cookie sheet for at least 5 minutes to help them kind of firm up, because these are a little bit chewy of a cookie, so they will definitely fall apart if you try to move them too quickly. And to pair with my chocolate chip cookies, I have steeped myself a little pot of Golden Monkey black tea from one of my favorite local tea shops, Tbsp. This was actually a gift from the owner of Tbsp in my last order. I ordered some teas and she threw in a little extra, so I got some of the Golden Monkey, which is a perfect basic black tea, but done very, very well. It's got that rich, kind of malty, chocolatey flavor to it, and it pairs beautifully with a really classic treat like a chocolate chip cookie. So I'm excited to have my little afternoon tea. They are crispy around the edges, they're soft in the middle, they have that beautiful dark brown sugar molassesy flavor. The dark, dark chocolate, 70% chocolate, is perfect with the sweetness of the cookie. And of course, a lovely cup of tea to go with them. So I hope you enjoyed this baking video this week. We'll see what I come up with next week. Thank you for joining me, and definitely please like and subscribe if you want to see what I'm doing in the future. Bye.